Hello and welcome to Vegan Cafe 21. Today we are making spring idli Manchurian and we are going to make it without rice. It's going to be vegan and gluten-free. So let's get started. To make our idlis we are using half a cup of sorghum flour, half a cup of gram flour. In this bowl I have 1 cup of cooked quinoa. This is quinoa that I had left over from dinner last night, so I'm going to put it to good use. Here we have an assortment of colorful vegetables. I have grated 1 carrot, a small piece of beetroot that has been grated as well. And here I have about a dozen green beans that I have finely chopped. We are going to season our idlis with 1 teaspoon of pink salt and some black pepper that I'm going to grind into it as well. Here I have 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. We're going to grease our molds with some olive oil. And to prepare our batter, all we need to do is add all of these 2 flours and quinoa into this blender jar and give it a quick mix, and then we'll put together our batter for the idlis. Here is the idli stand that I'm going to use. These are the molds that we will use to steam our idlis. If you don't have an idli stand, you can use any plate in your steamer that can be used for steaming. So let's put our batter together first. I'm adding 1 cup of water to get our batter going. Let's bring in our mixing bowl. Now I typically add salt to my quinoa when I boil it, so be mindful if your quinoa already has some salt in it, you may want to adjust your salt content for this batter. Add all of these ingredients into this mix that we just poured into this bowl and get our batter going. But before we do that, I'm going to grease our molds and get them ready. Drop a little bit of oil in each cavity, just a couple of drops. Spread it around either using a brush or your finger. The reason why we want to do this preparation first is because we don't want to waste any time after adding baking powder to our batter. Over on the stove top, I already have a pot with about 1 inch of water at the bottom. This is the pot I'm using to steam our idlis. So I've turned the heat on under it. And now we can get preparing our batter. Grind some black pepper, as much as you desire. Once everything is nicely mixed in and incorporated, we now add our baking powder. Make sure it's evenly distributed throughout the batter. You can see it has already started working. Now we can quickly spoon it into our cavities. Our stand is ready, and so is our pot of water. Place this in this pot and cover it with a lid. Now we have some leftover batter, so I'm going to use steaming plates. Smooth it out and set it in. This goes in the other pot. Cover it with the lid and let it go. Now remember, during this entire cooking process, make sure the boil is maintained in the water. We have reached the 16-minute mark since we started steaming our idlis. So now is the time for us to remove the lid and see how we are doing. Using a toothpick or a party pick, go in one of these and see if they come out dry, that means we are done. I am going to turn the heat off under this pot and let it hang out for just about a minute for the boil to dial down. All right, pull our stand out of the water. Now we're going to give them just a few minutes to cool down just a little bit before we demold. It has been 5 minutes and our molds have cooled considerably, so now they're comfortable to touch. Give it anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, and using a blunt side of the knife, I'm going to try and get them out. Don't rush through this process. You want to give it enough time to cool down and settle a bit before you demold. The bottom ones are so close to the boiling water, they tend to get a little soggy around the edges, but don't worry, as they cool down, they'll get better. And we are going to toss them in a sauce anyway. See how soft and spongy? Run your knife around the edges, and it's easier to cut it before you try to get it out of the plate. There. Now you can totally serve them just the way they are with a dip of your choice, be it coconut chutney, peanut chutney, or even soup like sambar or what have you. But today we are going to take them a step further and toss them in a sauce to make them spring idli Manchurian. Now we are ready to make the sauce. We will use 1.5 tablespoons of grated fresh ginger, about 2 tablespoons of tomato ketchup. Here I have 1 teaspoon of chili sauce. You can use any hot sauce that you may have on hand. A 1/4 cup of gluten-free tamari. You can use any gluten-free soy sauce. A 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. Some big chunks of orange pepper, green bell pepper, and red onions. You want to keep your dice about this size. We will also use some olive oil to get our sauce started. I have a large skillet on high heat. If you have a wok, that would be even better. You don't want a heavy bottom skillet or a pan for this dish. So I'm going to add some olive oil to the bottom of it, about 2 to 3 tablespoons. Once the oil is hot, you don't want it to smoke, but you do want it to be very hot. Keep the heat on high and toss the vegetables, move them around. To this, we are going to add our grated ginger. If you choose, you can also add finely chopped garlic to this at this point. Give this just about a minute, minute and a half. We don't want our peppers to become mushy. We are ready to add our vinegar, soy sauce, chili sauce, and ketchup. Grind some black pepper. Now I'm going to turn the heat down just for a little bit while I cut up my idlis to bring them to the skillet. Cut them into quarters, triangles like this. If you want to keep the pieces bigger, you can just do halves and drop the halves in. You can do this ahead of time before you start preparing your sauce. And done. Start tossing everything together. Our idlis have soaked up all the nice juices and have become super flavorful. We are ready to plate. There you have it. A platter full of flavor and nutrition, our spring idli Manchurian. This is a very nutritious and easy to put together dish that can be a star of any brunch or appetizer table. So please do give it a try. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you again soon with more vegan favorites.